Welcome to Noob-Splaining. My name is Wolf. If you're new here, this is where I explain the gloriously over-the-top world of Warhammer 40k that nerds like me love so much. So, settle in, grab a drink, and prepare for a Noob-Splaining session. So in this video, I'm going to take a break from the Combat Patrol series I've been doing, and instead I'm going to throw my weight into the which Primarchs are returning next debate, as I'm pretty sure I know which two it is, and have very compelling argument as to why. So watch the vid to get all the information, and either comment if you agree with me, or convince me I'm wrong. Before I do though, big shout out to Gaz who has taken on board the whole Emperor Crust thing, so once again, well done Megadoom for coming up with this idea. Now if you're here, you probably fall into one of three categories. 1. You're totally new to 40k and want to learn what's going on, especially with all the talk from Henry Cavill and his upcoming live action adaptations. 2. You're already aware of 40k and are just checking if you missed something. Spoiler alert, this channel is for noobs, so I doubt it, but stick around for my take on it, you might find it funny. And 3. You're a keyboard inquisitor waiting for me to fuck up, so you can flame me in the comments. If this is you, then bring it on. Now if you fall into category 2 or 3, thanks for being here, and let me know if you agree with me. If you fall into category 1, you're in the right place to learn, and everything I say must be taken as gospel because I'm a goddamn expert. So, a little bit of background. The Space Marines were originally divided into 20 legions, each having its own Primarch, except the 20th Legion, the Alpha Legion, whose Primarch were actually twins. So there were 21 Primarchs. I'm not gonna lie, I get so fucking triggered when some amateur YouTuber says there are only 20 Primarchs. Yes, I get the idea of the fact that Alferis's twin, Omegon, is some massive in-universe secret, but it's an in-universe secret that us the audience are supposed to know about, unlike, for example, the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's dad, which was a secret that the audience were meant to discover as part of Luke's arc. Hiding Omegon from new players doesn't actually do anything for the 40k universe or its storylines or anybody's art. All you're doing is confusing new players when they see someone say 20 and someone else say 21 Primarchs. So if you see a lore tuber say 20 Primarchs, call them a fucking amateur. Alright, rant over. Now, unlike the Space Marines who are genetically enhanced, the Primarchs are genetically engineered beings from the ground up, making them effectively demigods, and each have a unique personality and skill set that is then passed on to their Space Marine sons who share some of their Primarch's DNA. Now, 2 of the legions were deleted from history, leaving us 18 legions and 19 known Primarchs. Half the legions then fell to chaos in the Horus Heresy, resulting in the biggest civil war in any setting ever. But that's the thing with 40k. It has to be over the top all the time. Anyway, like I said, the Primarchs are basically virtually unkillable demigods, and so were deemed too powerful for the tabletop game, so had to be written out somehow. Over the years, the lore was developed to either kill a few of them off or have them go missing. A few years ago, Games Workshop decided that bringing some of the traitor Primarchs back was a good idea, but they also knew we would need loyalist Primarchs as a counter to them. As a result, this has led to debate that has raged in the Lore 2 community for years, with each person giving their take on who comes back next. However, most of those opinions are biased in the favour of the legions they prefer, and are frankly wrong. So let's go through each loyalist legion in order to discuss their Primarch and what their status is right now, and then we can narrow it down to the 2 that will return next. And more importantly, why I am right. The other thing I noticed while making this video is how many of the loyalist Primarchs are referred to in the third person, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So first on the list is the First Legion, the Dark Angels and their Primarch Lionel Johnson, often called the Lion. Well, this one is moot as he is already back, but his story was frankly fucking stupid. After getting into a 24-hour punch-up with one of his Primarch brothers, Layman Russ of the Space Wolves, he just walked away, after knocking Layman the fuck out. But 24 hours of constant fighting with another Primarch, and he just walked away, goes to show how good a Primarch's healing factor is. However, Lion then gets into a fight with his number 2, a man called Luther who had betrayed him. In the process, Lion blows up his whole fucking planet and then has to have a little nap to sleep off the wounds that Luther caused him. And it took him 10,000 years to heal. But he's back now, so who cares about this little fact. Second on the list, we have the 5th Legion, the White Scars, and their Primarch Jagatai Khan, often called the Khan. You see what I mean about not being referred to in third person? The Khan's status is currently MIA. He survived the Horus Heresy, so had to be written out. As a result, he was last seen chasing some Drakari into the Webway. Now, seeing as time works differently in the Webway, it is completely plausible he is still alive, and will just wander out of the webway again at some point, presumably covered in Drukhari blood and guts. From a lore point of view, he is a good contender to return. The third legion on our list is the 6th legion, the Space Wolves, and their Primarch Layman Russ, often just called Russ or the Wolf King. He also survived the heresy, so one day he just got up, gathered most of his bodyguard, and fucked off into the Eye of Terror, looking for a fight from his traitorous brothers. I assume he'd been drinking copious amounts of Stella Artois prior to making this decision. He is, however, a fucking unit though, and tanked up on Stella, I have no doubt he has spent the last 10,000 years beating the fuck out of demons and Chaos Space Marines while looking for his traitorous brothers. Now, there really isn't anything that scares a traitor Primarch, especially now they are also demon Primarchs, but they're also not fucking stupid either. So if a tanked up Layman Russ is battering the fuck out of everyone, you can guarantee the traitor Primarchs have run for the hills. The current lore says he is still alive and possibly nursing one hell of a hangover, but he will return to save the Emperor in what will be known as the Wolf Time. And no, the Wolf Time is not something I say as I'm climbing into bed. Fourth on our list is the Imperial Fist, and their Primarch Rogel Dawn. Now Rogel is an absolute tank of a unit, and I have a lot of respect for this Primarch. His Legion, however, can fuck right off. I would rather spend 8 hours at a conference discussing the finer points of knitting than spend 20 minutes talking to one of these boring bastards. Again, Rogel survived the Horus Heresy, so needed to be written out. He was last seen being ambushed by a Chaos Armada, and in the aftermath, the only thing that was found was his hand. Technically, he's MIA, but let's face it, with how much of a beast he is, he's got to be dead or he would have popped up again by now. Fifth on our list is the 9th Legion, the Blood Angels, and their Primarch, Sanguinius, known as the Angel, on account that he had wings, also nicknamed Hawkboy by many of his fans. I say had, he's dead. Very, very fucking dead, and his body is currently kept in a tomb on his homeworld, so at any point some Blood Angels are feeling a bit too happy, they can go down there and have a good cry. He's definitely not coming back, due to the fact he was strangled harder than Jabba the Hutt. Next up on our list is the 10th Legion, the Iron Hands, and their Primarch, Ferrus Manus. Early in the Horus Heresy, he got his head cut off by one of the traitor Primarchs, so he's in the Sanguinius category of being very fucking dead. 7th on our list is the 13th Legion, the Ultramarines, and their Primarch, Rabute Gilliman, which is also moot, as Rabute was the first loyalist Primarch to come back. He also survived the heresy and needed writing out, so he had his throat slashed with a poison blade, and that poison was designed to beat a Primarch healing factor. Having no way of being able to save their Primarch right now, he was put into stasis and then put on display like some morbid grotesque statue. Here stands Rabute, frozen in time to stop it from dying. Take a look, folks. There has been a few mentions in the lore that as pilgrims to his statue got older, they could swear his wound was healing even though he is in stasis. Then Games Workshop came along with some Eldari and Necron technology and healed him for him to go full beast mode on some bad guys that had invaded his planet. 8th on the list is the 18th Legion, the Salamanders, and their Primarch Vulcan. Vulcan and his Legion are by far the most humane when it comes to interacting with normal humans, and it's clear they passionately care about humans and want to protect and help as many as they can. Ironically, they also have a penchant for war crimes levels of weaponry. But this is 40k, and we don't do nice people in 40k, so naturally, Vulcan was captured, tortured and killed by one of his traitorous brothers. Only for said brother to discover Vulcan is a perpetual and keeps coming back to life, so he was tortured and killed again, and again, and again, and again. You get the picture. This has made him batshit crazy, so although he is still kicking around in the universe somewhere, he has about as much grasp on reality as a flat earther on meth can do science. In theory he can return, but has a lot of PTSD to deal with first, and if he hasn't dealt with it in the last 10,000 years, the next few months or so are not going to be any different. Just don't send him to the shooting range with an ex-Navy SEAL sniper. And finally, but by no means the least, the number 9 on our list of legions, it's the Raven Guard, and their Primarch Corvus Corax. He also survived the heresy, but only narrowly, and has since ascended into a loyalist demon crow thing, and is currently wandering the war, hunting for his brothers, but with more stealth than Layman Russ. Think of Corax as a dagger in the dark, and Russ as a sledgehammer, strapped to a fucking battleship covered in disco lights. So, we have two that are back, Rabute and the Lion. So let's narrow down the remaining field then. Sanguinius and Vulcan are very, very dead. Dawn is presumed dead. Vulcan is so fucking out of it, he might as well be dead. Russ will only return when the entire setting is on the brink of destruction, and that's pretty much every day, and yet no sign of him either, so it's safe to say he's not coming back anytime soon. That leaves our best two contenders as the Khan and Corvus, according to the lore, and the choice a lot of other lore tubers go for. But that choice is very fucking wrong. Games Workshop does not give a flying fuck about the lore, and will make changes to the lore if it will increase their profits. Primaris Marines are a good example of this. So Games Workshop will bring back the next two Primarchs based upon which legion is selling the most models. The Ultramarines were top spot, so we got Rebute. Then it was Dark Angels in number 2, so we got the Lion. So all we have to do is work out who's in spot 3 and spot 4. So let's take a look at the amount of standalone chapter codexes from every edition and what chapters have their own models. There is no Imperial Fist Venerable Dreadnought, nor is there Raven Guard Assault Marines, or White Scars attack bikes, and definitely no Salamander Land Raiders equipped with war crime levels of weaponry. Games Workshop release models based on profits, not on the lore. So the next 2 Primarchs we're going to get is Ross returning from the warp, presumably to get more cans of Stella and wearing a cloak made of Greater Demon scrotums, and then it will be the Angel himself and some staggering levels of lore bullshittery to bring him back to life. Both of these facts have been hinted at by Games Workshop themselves. I honestly look forward to the return of Russ, as the Space Wolves after the Dark Angels are my second favourite chapter. I do have respect for the Blood Angels, but Sanguinius can stay dead for all I care, but I cannot deny that the Blood Angels are by far a very popular chapter. So there you have it folks, for the lore, it's the ones that will make the most money we will see next. We can sit and talk about their actual lore reasons all day long and debate all the fors and against for each and every one of the Primarchs. But those of you who are from Group 2 or 3 who knows Games Workshop, do you really think they will put lore reasons over profit margins? Convince me I'm wrong. Those of you from Group 1, let me explain why I'm right. Games Workshop cares more about profits than anything else. Now this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it also makes them predictable, and at times appear to do very shitty things just to squeeze some more money out of your wallet. But that's my prediction. It's going to be the Russ and Sanguinius, purely because they will sell the most models. And there we have it folks, that brings us to the end of another video. If you made it this far, thank you very much. If you would like a shout out in one of my videos, then just email me on the email address in the description. Also, please check out my links for Baron of Dice and Element Games, and if you really want, you can buy me a coffee. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could do with some Noob-Splaining in their life.